More than 90,000 acres burned and hundreds of homes lost. But tonight, some residents are being allowed back home as crews start to make some progress on that massive Woolsey fire. While there are positive signs from the fire lines, the danger, though, is not over.
Now, it's going to be a long night with Santa Ana winds continuing to blow across a fire-scarred landscape. We have team coverage for you from all across the fire zone.
But let's begin with Stu Mandel. He's live in Sky 2, and he's above the Woolsey fire with more. Stu?
Well, we're looking out towards Malibu Creek State Park, and this is going to be Las Virgenes right there, and some hot spots are up here on the hillside. And these little hot spots can create a lot of havoc when the winds start picking up. Now, we do know LA County Fire Helicopter, in all that darkness, Helicopter 15 is out there dropping water on these hot spots at night. We've been watching him as he's been doing these drops throughout the evening, making some progress, but there are still a couple of them out here, and they want to make sure they're all out before they start really bringing up those containment numbers. As far as the rest of the Woolsey fire, as far as we can see, it really looks like it is shaping up. There are a couple more of these repeated in some other spots, but right now they're really working to get all those hot spots out. Live over Calabasas looking at the Woolsey fire. I'm Stu Mandel. Back to you.
All right, Stu, thank you. Here are the latest numbers just updated tonight on the Woolsey fire. More than 93,000 acres have burned. It's 30% contained. 435 structures have been destroyed.
And mandatory evacuations are in effect for Malibu, Bell Canyon, Calabasas, Hidden Hills, Topanga Canyon, and parts of Thousand Oaks and Westlake Village. However, evacuations have been lifted for West Hills. Schools in the Conejo Valley and Las Virgenes school districts will be closed through Thanksgiving. And CBS 2's Rachel Kim is live at Agoura Hills tonight, where she talked to homeowners who returned to a scene of destruction. Rachel.
Well, Pat, many evacuees here in Agoura Hills have been able to return home tonight, but mandatory evacuations are still in effect for neighborhoods south of the flames took what some residents on Acacia Glen Street once called home, a sobering reminder of the devastation and destruction for people in Agoura Hills.
I had to leave Thursday. It was actually rather scary seeing the fire coming up over the hill, and this is my parents' home of 34 years, and leaving that night, we thought we would never see it again.
Jeffrey McStrell's family returned tonight thankful after they were forced to evacuate their Agoura Hills home on Thursday. With flames raging not far from their backyard, they quickly packed what they thought was irreplaceable and left. When they got word they could come home tonight, they saw the homes on their street that couldn't be saved.
I am tired, I won't lie, and relieved, and every emotion in between. It's just like, how did this house not burn? I mean, the fire came within mere feet of it. The firefighters, they are heroes. There's no other way to describe them.
Jim Vickers says firefighters in Malibu were heroes, helping him and his wife save these 2 alpacas that were penned up on a property near his home. Jim tells us sadly 6 other alpacas didn't make it.
And we loaded them in my truck, and we brought them down here, and I got to tell you, it feels really good to have been able to at least save those 2.
And that was Rachel Kim reporting. In Malibu, the Woolsey fire caused some major devastation.
And while the worst may be over, the seaside community isn't out of the woods yet. CBS 2's Leslie Marine is live in Malibu with more on what fire crews are focused on right now. Leslie.
Pat and Jeff, there are still dozens of firefighters out here as well as air support because they're trying to attack any of those flare-ups overnight. But tonight, a different sign you're seeing behind me. This is dozens of SoCal Edison employees that are out here trying to restore power, a sign the community may be ready to rebuild soon. The city of Malibu not out of the firefight just yet. Watch as fire crews quickly put out a small flare-up tonight along Sea Vista Drive. But as firefighters work to fend off the flames, a sign of rebuilding. Edison crews working around the clock to repair dozens of burned-through power lines.
I do love this community, and it's a tough situation.
The process to rebuild is really just beginning.
2 of our boys, we had portraits made. We grabbed those, and I grabbed 2 guitars.
But that's it. The reality the same for 16-year-old Tia Petretti. Her father's home is also gone.
He's a car collector, so he got to save all of the cars and then all of the family heirlooms he saved, but I think that's about it.
Both now dealing with a new reality, but somehow filled with more gratitude than ever.
The people that really that really care about the community are pulling together.
That community spirit shining through at one of the only spots still open in the evacuated area.
I didn't realize that some of the people hunkered down and stayed in town, and they are just so thankful we're here.
Demora's Pizza Shop providing free slices to firefighters since Friday, not once closing their doors. A sense of normalcy in what's been a tragic week.
All right, guys. God bless.
And tonight, firefighters telling us they will be scattered across the city of Malibu, just trying to attack any of those flare-ups. Reporting live in Malibu, Leslie Marin, back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Leslie. Well, you can't escape it. Many people tonight are still thinking about these strong Santa Ana winds.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Garth Kemp is here with a look at just how long they're going to stick around. Garth.
Yeah, here we go, everybody. We're going to continue one more night of this and try to ease things off. Right now, these are the current conditions, about 17 miles an hour through Oxnard. Getting gusts a little stronger than that, but after 3 in the morning is when we're going to see stronger gusts, 25, 30, 40 miles an hour at the surface. At the ridge tops, we still could see up to 60-mile-an-hour winds coming across the Santa Monica mountain range through the LA Ventura County mountains. Those would be on the higher peaks, moving their way through the area. So we've extended out the red flag warnings. High wind warnings are still into effect. I'll show you all of that coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you guys.
All right, good enough, Garth. Thanks. Bell Canyon has been one of the hardest hit areas. This video right here from Friday shows the intensity of the flames that ripped through the homes. Tonight, CBS 2's Chris Holmstrom is live. He's on Wrangler Lane to show us the damage and also, I guess, Chris, one home that escaped.
Yeah, that's right. And this is one of the neighborhoods still under mandatory evacuations. You can see firefighters still out here checking for hot spots. This home right here, or what's left of it, completely lost. But right next door, as you can see, this home, it's completely okay.
It just still gives me chills just to think about it.
Elma and Greg Swick heartbroken for many of their neighbors in Bell Canyon.
I started driving down Dapple Gray, and that's when I saw the house on the corner was still burning. The other 2 had already burned.
In all, they say 38 homes were destroyed by the Woolsey fire. For the Swicks, their home untouched.
I was turning on the sprinklers and wetting down the ground as much as possible. We were wetting down the house, the deck, the trees.
Instead of following the mandatory evacuation order, they stayed home to protect their property and gave updates to their neighbors.
I was trying to keep things up on Nextdoor, and people were texting me, is my home still okay? Can you go check?
For many, it wasn't the news they wanted.
It was just so devastating to let them know, or tell them that, no, I'm sorry, your house is gone.
Days after the fire tore through the neighborhood, people still can't come home. But earlier in the day, police gave them an escort, 10 minutes to check on their home, or for this family, to see the destruction.
Is this something, ma'am?
A 6,500-foot home, now just rubble.
We're under the impression that it was going to be a save, and I guess it was just such a ferocious fire.
A ferocious fire that still has this neighborhood under evacuation.
If you leave, you're definitely, you can't come back in until that mandatory evacuation's lifted.
And right now, the biggest concern is the wind. There's also still no power, so until that comes back on and these winds die down, this neighborhood will remain under evacuation. Reporting live from Bell Canyon, I'm Chris Holmstrom, CBS 2 News.
Oh my God. That's Scott and Sharon's house.
A dramatic scene in Calabasas. A cell phone video shows one neighborhood going up in flames. It was taken by a couple who stayed behind and did not evacuate. Tonight, the mandatory evacuation order has been lifted for West Hills. People are getting back into their homes for the first time since Friday. CBS 2's Christy Fajardo is live with details. Christy.
Yeah, Pat, the evacuation order was lifted a couple of hours ago, and I want to show you what neighbors are coming back to. They feel very fortunate because their street actually looks better than when they left it. We're not even smelling any smoke, and they are so grateful to see so many cars back in the driveways. Home never looked so sweet to the Haney family of West Hills. This is what it looked like when they packed up and left on Friday. The glow of the menacing Woolsey fire raging towards their home.
We left, we thought it was gone, and so, to find out that it's still standing, it's wonderful.
After days away, the comforts of home are a great relief. Neighbor Mike Merhart is also all smiles. For once, unpacking is a joy.
Been a horrendous ordeal because the fire came within, a block of here, so
Thank God for the firefighters. They did a great job.
Oh my God.
It's a sentiment echoed in Calabasas by the panicked voices you hear on this video. Their neighborhood under siege by monster flames. The crackling of the fire ricocheting through the street. And it was under these conditions that Tyler Turquand stayed to save their home.
If I knew what I know now, I wouldn't have done this. There was many points that I was like, I'm not going to make it out of here.
Now, days later, embers still light up the Calabasas night, and some evacuees can only walk in, no cars allowed, and others can't go home at all.
We don't have any power, so I'm thinking that's why they're not letting us in.
In the areas where the evacuation orders are still in effect, authorities are citing the wind and also active flame. And I can tell you, even in this neighborhood, we're still getting those heavy gusts. Live in West Hills, Christy Fajardo, CBS 2 News.
Christy, thank you. Firefighters quickly put out a new fire near Simi Valley. The peak fire erupted right along the 118 freeway at the Santa Susana Pass.
They closed a stretch of the freeway and ordered drivers to turn around. Firefighters successfully kept the peak fire to 20 acres with no property damage reported.
Now, a lot of people have been wondering about the wildlife that live in the fire zone, and today the Santa Monica Mountain National Recreation Area gave us an update. It's not necessarily good. Of the 13 mountain lions with GPS collars in and around the Santa Monica Mountains, 5 are unaccounted for. 4 bobcats are also being monitored, and while their home ranges have burned, it is possible the bobcats survived. The Park Service won't know until rangers can get in there and retrieve some data. Among the 5 mountain lions missing is the famous P-22. Remember the big cat, well known in LA after this photo was taken of him in Griffith Park back in 2012.
Homeowners in the burn areas still face insurance headaches even without losses. We talked to an insurance expert who noted 2 new laws could protect policyholders. One says insurance companies must renew your policy at least 1 more year if you lose your house in a declared disaster. The other protects neighbors nearby with intact homes that now live in high-risk areas. Problem is, that law does not go into effect until January.
I've had people really get very panicked. If I were an insurance company, I would definitely be thinking about reducing the number of customers I have in the state. And we're just hoping that they stay calm and they don't do anything rash.
That expert says she hopes healthy competition among insurers here will keep the possibility of higher rates in check.
So while there is no official cause of the Woolsey fire, SoCal Edison has told state regulators that there was an outage tied to one of its substations just 2 minutes before the fire started. The utility says there was a disturbance at the Chatsworth substation. It's unclear if that disturbance led to the outage, was actually a factor in starting the fire.
Well, the death toll of the so-called Camp Fire up north is now 42.
Yeah, that makes it the deadliest in California history. Crews have been in there searching for remains in what used to be paradise. It was completely wiped out by that fire.
Ironic, the name. CAL FIRE says 117,000 acres have been scorched and nearly 6,500 homes destroyed. Firefighters from as far as South Dakota are helping battle this fire that's only 30% contained.
President Trump has taken a new stance on our wildfires. Remember Saturday, he tweeted that California forest mismanagement was the main reason for the deadly string of fires. Well, now he's done a 180 with his words and his actions.
Today, the president approved what he called an expedited request for major disaster relief. And he also tweeted words of encouragement to all the fire victims.
Now, we're compiling videos of neighborhoods on CBSLA.com so you can come in and check the status of your home. You'll find our database. It's on our homepage, CBSLA.com.
And a lot of damage and devastation, of course, means a lot of people are going to need help. So that's why CBS2 and KCAL 9 are partnering with the LA Rams and United Way to help those impacted by the Woolsey and Hill fires.
Right now, you can donate online just by going, as I said, to CBSLA.com. It's /CBSLA helps. And then be sure to watch CBS2 and KCAL this Wednesday for our live fundraiser. It all starts at 11 a.m.
Well, Jeff, breaking news right now in downtown LA where a car has crashed near the LA Convention Center.
Yeah, I recognize that overpass right there. Stu Mundell overhead. Stu?
Well, it's some sort of big box truck out here full of Christmas ornaments, but it definitely was involved in some kind of wreck. It is right underneath the freeway right there. LA City Fire actually had to cut one of 3 patients out of that cab of the truck. They've all been taken to local hospitals. Right now, LA City Fire still here on scene, and LAPD investigating how this crash happened. Live in Sky 2 over downtown Los Angeles, I'm Stu Mundell. Back to you 2 in the studio.
All right, thanks for that, Stu. Now, comic book visionary Stan Lee is being remembered tonight. Fans placed flowers on his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame after word of his death spread. Lee left an indelible mark on the industry, and now his work is dominating both television and film. Lee died today at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center at the age of 95.
He's survived by his daughter and by his brother. Lee will forever be remembered for some of the most iconic superheroes we know of, from the Amazing Spider-Man to the Hulk, X-Men, a lot more. At 16, Lee became an assistant at a comic publisher that eventually grew into Marvel Comics. Even though he rose to become president, he was actually eventually forced out.
Well, he went on to start his own companies and even teamed up with his longtime rivals at DC Comics, putting his own spin on their superheroes, including Batman and Wonder Woman. Now, many celebrities were quick to react on social media to Stan Lee's passing. Actor and Wolverine star Hugh Jackman tweeted, "We've lost a creative genius. Stan Lee was a pioneering force in the superhero universe. I'm proud to have been a small part of his legacy and to have helped bring one of his characters to life."
Actor and Iron Man star Robert Downey Jr. posted this picture of himself and Stan Lee on Instagram with the caption, "I owe it all to you. Rest in peace, Stan."
And actress Evangeline Lilly, who appeared in Ant-Man and the Wasp, tweeted, "I believe with all my heart that Stan Lee would want to be celebrated today. Even through your tears, let's flood the internet with all the artwork, good, great, or awful, that's ever been created in Stan's name." And they did that.
Yeah, they did.
There's a lot.
Fundraisers and memorials for the victims of last week's borderline shooting are starting to take place.
Among the events, a fundraiser tonight for the family of Cody Kaufman. His friends, along with the Camarillo Pony Baseball League, hosted the event at Topper's Pizza in Camarillo. Cody's dad was a former employee there. Money raised from tonight's events will help Cody's parents pay for funeral expenses and other needs.
And up in Napa, look at how many people got together today to honor Elena Housley. The 18-year-old is the youngest of the 12 victims. She just graduated from Vintage High School in Napa this last spring. She was a freshman at Pepperdine.
I think it's so important to know that while Elena's gone, and we are going to have to live with that, we know that her voice will live on.
That's Elena's dad. He's starting a foundation dedicated to stricter gun control.
As the credits roll, a sad song starts to play.
Cal Lutheran held a Veterans Day celebration in Thousand Oaks that honored another victim in the shooting, Justin Meek. His family was also at the event today. His mother had his favorite music group, Justin Hunsinger Band, play his favorite songs. Meek was supposed to be the chef at the celebration. Organizers used his recipes and had a memorial for him. Meek worked in the Veterans Resource Office and Veterans Club when he attended Cal Lutheran.
And a memorial for the 12 victims just keeps getting bigger and bigger near the Borderline Bar and Grill. Flowers, candles lining the sidewalk, along with photos of the victims. And you see the crosses there, white crosses in honor of all 12 lives lost, have been put up along with pictures and a lot of written tributes.
Well, so sad to see, but
yeah.
Nice that people are coming out and memorializing their loved ones.
It is.
Would be nice if the winds died down and our weather changed for the better here in SoCal.
Well, yeah, we're getting there. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's just been a crazy good 5 or 6 days just about now. Good evening, everybody. It's a clear night out there as we get you just down towards Long Beach. Temperature-wise, if you find yourself in a wind-sheltered area, very cold out there yet again this evening, please take care of your animals. Don't forget, as you donate to help out for people for the fires, don't forget about the pets and the animals that can use blankets, all those things. Yes, SPCLA and the Agora Animal Shelter, those areas can really use that kind of stuff, I'm sure, as well as some food. 55 degrees right now, winds are calm, and the humidity is at 42%. 49 right now, San Bernardino, so calm winds there. 60 Ontario, a little breezy, 66 across the valley floor. You can see Camarillo and Oxnard warmer, because of the offshore flow. Then you get up into the high deserts, mid-30s there, and 30 up into Big Bear. So let's talk about the winds there. They are offshore right now, starting to build a little bit more than they were earlier the last time we spoke to, including well out towards the Inland Empire, but up by all the fire areas. All these are starting to build themselves up as we speak. Let me show you the future wind gusts. By 6:30 tomorrow morning, after 3 o'clock this morning, we will start to pick up the pace. From Santa Clarita all the way off to Oxnard, 31 to 34 mile an hour winds. You get higher up than that. Remember, you get like 20 feet off the surface. You can add another 5 to 10 miles per hour. And there's some of the mountaintops we'll see through the overnight period into tomorrow, more so through about early afternoon. We still could see 50, 55, 60 mile an hour gusts at some of the higher peaks, including the Santa Monica mountain range. By 10 a.m. tomorrow, the winds build a little bit or hold steady, but they're still offshore. That is the problem. By 4:30 tomorrow, we start to lose a little bit, and then we will slowly, over the next 48 hours, start to change the directions of the wind. We'll start to ease off, though, as we get through Tuesday night, especially into Wednesday as well. We will back off the pace of these winds, and then as we start to get to Thursday and Friday, thankfully, we turn onshore. We'll start to pick up some marine layer, and we'll get a nice onshore push. So the red flag warnings roll on through Wednesday, pretty much for the entire area. Then we'll get wind advisories for LA County and the valleys through tomorrow evening. High wind warning, Santa Monica Mountain Range, all the mountain areas through Wednesday will continue on. You can see those temperatures in there. Thankfully, as we get to next weekend, the onshore push really increases. And a quick heads up, next week as we start to get towards Thanksgiving, some of the longer range models showing a shot of rain for Thanksgiving weekend. So we're going to keep an eye on that one. Have a good evening, you guys.
All right, you too. Thank you, Gareth. Well, a show of support for California from one of the most iconic buildings in the world.
Plus, a miracle amid the Woolsey fire. Rescuers do more than evacuate horses from Malibu. Now they help bring a new one into the world.